my name's Kat and I play Red. So this video is going to be going out the first official day of Essen. This is a big one. I know lots of people are excited about. I'm excited too. I'm excited for you to get it. It's probably my favourite of the tea games so far. I think you know what it is, don't you? It is Tiletum from Board&Dice, designed by Daniel Tassini and Simone Luciani. Let's have a look at it. In Tiletum, players play as rich merchants travelling from Tiletum through Europe in the days of the early Renaissance. Travelled to faraway cities to acquire trade contracts, establish trade houses, invest in cathedrals, gain the favour of nobles and welcome them into your house. The game is played over 4 rounds and each round has 5 phases. The preparation phase, the action phase, the king phase, the fair phase and the clean-up phase. In the preparation phase, you're going to roll a number of dice appropriate for the player count. So 8, 11 or 14 with 2, 3 or 4 players. Oops. Now we've got this set up for 2 players. So we're going to take 8 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. We're going to roll them and then place them on the action wheel in accordance with their value. So we have 1s, 2s, we're going to jump for 4, 3 and 5. That's a preparation phase. So now we're going to move into the action phase. During the action phase, each player will get 3 turns. So there's kind of 3 rounds in each action phase. At the start of each of these rounds, you need to reveal one of the corruption tokens from the king's track here. So we're going to reveal that down 2, and all players will move down in accordance with whatever number is shown there. Then in your turn, you'll take one of the die from the action wheel, take the depicted resource and then the associated action. However, before taking a die, you may pay 2 gold to plus or minus 1 to your die. So not only does it change the value, but it would then change the action. So if I wanted to pay 2 gold, I could move this to a 6 and it would move along there and open up the merchant action. You can actually do this multiple times. So I could pay 4 gold and move that to the 1. 6s become 1s, 1s become 6s and so on. Place the selected die onto your player board. So there are 3 spaces here for the dice. If there's a bonus tile, you can take it off and place it in your storage. But for now, let's have a look at our player boards. Here we have the space for the 3 dice we'll have over each round. Here is our storage unit. Tiles will go in there and can never be discarded from there. So careful about overfilling that. We then have our 6 houses here. We're going to place nobles in the house and crests along the bottom. When you place a crest on the bottom, you need to pay the amount of food shown and you'll gain the bonus depicted. Then at the top here, we have our contract space. If you fulfill a contract, you're going to pop it on this spot and that pillar is going to go into your personal supply. But for now, at the start of the game, we start with 2 pillars and 2 houses. And as per usual, there's no red player in this. Boo. Let's go back to the actions. So the first thing you're going to do is take the resources depicted. Now let's have a look at what I might want here. My word, what a load of rubbish. I am going to take this one. I'm going to take the 3. So the first thing is to take the resources shown. So in this case, that's 3 stone. I can then choose if I want to take this tile or not, which I'm going to do. So I'm going to pop that into my storage, take my 3 stone, take my die. Now you'll notice that the number on the dice is inversely proportional to the number of action points you get. So here I took the 3, I'm going to get 3 resources and 4 action points. There are tokens for your action points if you want them. We just try and remember them. Let's have a look at the actions and see what they do. So the first thing we have here is the architect. So you're going to start with your architect token, which is very neat, in the town of Tiletum. There are 3 different things you can do with your action points. You can, we can make it drop off, move it for 1, move it for 2, etc. You can use 1 action point to take the bonus tile in a town, or you can use it to build a column. So 3 actions, you can move, take the tile, or build with your architect. But I didn't take an architect action. The merchant action here next to it with the caravan. Again, we've got a little matching piece, our caravan here. This is very similar to the architect. Again, I can move, I can take tiles, or I can build houses. Now, I wouldn't be able to build here because this is a 2-player game, but let's say I'd move to here, I could build a house here. So that's my 3 available actions with the merchant. Now, any of these actions cost 1 action point, and you can take them, you can take the same action numerous times. So if I had 4 actions with my merchant, I could just move 4 if I wanted to. Let's go back to the wheel. Here we have the character action. And again, all of these things cost you 1 action point. You can discard all the characters that are currently on the display and replace them with some new ones. You can take a character for 1 action point, and let's just for now, let's say I have him in my storage, because the 3rd action you can do with the character action is to move them into one of your houses. Now, depending on where you move them, depends on how many action points they cost you. So if I was to put him anywhere on this bottom row, it would cost me 1 action point. On the 2nd floor would cost me 2, and on the 3rd floor would cost me 3. Moving round to the contract action. Now, this is actually what I've just taken. So let's have a look. I've got 4 action points. The first thing I can do is take one of these contracts, and you can see they actually have a different cost. So with 4, I could take these 2 at 2 each, or I could take one of the 3s and a 1, and so on. The other thing you can do is exchange goods. Now, you can exchange any good for any other good. If it's the first time you do it, you're actually going to get 1 extra good. So I could swap one of my stone In fact, that's what I'm going to do. I've got 4 action points. So I'm going to exchange one of my stone that I've got for a wool. And because it's the first time I'm doing that, I get an extra good. So I'm going to take another wool, and you'll understand why soon. So that's one of my contract points. So I'm actually going to take this family crest here as 3. So I've spent my 4 points. So that goes into my storage. The king action here with the crown allows you to move up the king track. So if I'd taken one of these, I'd have 2 king action points, which would allow me to move 2 up the king's track here. Last action on our action wheel is the Joker, the wild card if you like. This means you can choose any of the other 5 actions to take. As well as the actions on the action wheel, there are a number of free actions you can take in a turn. You can exchange 2 gold for a resource of your choice. You can fulfill a contract, which, funnily enough, is what I'm going to do now because of that trade, I have 2 wool. So I'm going to put 2 wool back in the bank, and this contract is going to go up here. So now I get that pillar into my supply. I'd get 2 points as shown on the tile, and that's my free action. You can also spend food to move a crest from your storage into one of your houses. So these would cost me 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 food. I've got a crest, but I have no food, so I can't actually do that. You can also contribute to a cathedral. Now, you'll notice these rather fancy cathedrals at various points across the region. All you need to do is pay what's shown here. So in this case, it'd be 4 stone. And I'd actually gain a total of 10 points from here. I'd take this top tile and leave that there. However, to contribute to a cathedral, you must have a column in the city, which I don't, so I can't contribute for now. In order to gain more of your columns, you're going to need to fulfill contracts. Your fulfilled contracts will go here and give you access to these. So you need to do that. However, to get your houses, you need to fill your houses. To get your trade houses, you need to fill your houses. So let's have a look again for some dudes. Let's take her. So if I have her in both of these, I'm going to gain the trade house at the top of the building here. And that goes into my personal supply, ready for me to place on the board. However, if I could then place that shield there, I'd get the bonus shown on the bottom. In this case, that's moved the merchant to anywhere on the board. But I'd also gain this +2 that you might be able to see at the top of the board there. I'm going to take one of my +2 markers, and because she has the crown icon on the bottom corner here, I'm going to place that onto the board here. So whenever I take this action, I'm going to get an additional 2 action points to spend. If I were to fill one of these smaller houses and then put the shields on, I'd get one of the +1s. And if I fill this big house, I get a +3. So the number of action points you get can be huge. The last and final free action is to use a helper tile. Now we've actually got one over here. These are various tiles that will come up across the board that give you bonus actions. So you can use them at any point, and that one there gives you a free action. This one here would give you 3 points with your merchant, 3 king points, etc. So the free actions are swap gold for resources, fulfill a contract, spend food to move a crest, contribute to a cathedral, or use a helper tile. After everyone has done their free actions, you're going to move on to the king phase. The player who is highest on the king track gets to decide if they want to take or discard the tile there. Then you're going to score points. So in this case, I'd actually get -2 points, which kind of balances out that contract I did earlier. Never mind. So you're going to score the points. Anyone on negative points will move to the 0. Anyone on positive will stay where they are. And this will also determine turn order. After the king phase, you're going to move into the fair phase. Our fairs over the course of the game are in these 4 cities, which, if you notice, we've then got these little markers on the board so that we can keep track. The first one is always in Tiletum. The rest are random, as are the point scoring for each round. To score a fair, you must either have a house or a merchant in that town. And let's have a look at some of these scorings. So the initial fair in Tiletum is going to be 2 plus 2 for every column we have. So it'll be 4 per column. So that's kind of what I want to work towards on this first turn. After you've scored the fair, you're going to move into the clean-up phase. During the clean-up phase, you're going to replenish any bonus tiles on the wheel, leave any that haven't been taken. You're going to possibly replace the king tile. You're going to shuffle these corruption tokens and place 3 random out again. You're then going to rotate this action wheel 1 space clockwise, return all dice to the bag. So that's our 5 phases. So let's just have a look and do some actions. So I did my first action, which was contracts, and I fulfilled the contract. So what else do I want? I need to get some columns down for scoring. So I want an architect action. Firstly, we need to flip the corruption token, which I was down to, which gives me another -1. So I want an architect action, which is nice, and it gives me food. I need more food than that. 1 is just horrible. So I'm going to take this dice, take 1 food, take the tile, and then I'm going to get 6 architect actions. So the tile goes in my storage, food goes there. So let's have a look. I am going to go 1, build for 2, and take that for 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is my 6 architect actions. I have now got this merchant tile, so I think I'm going to use that because it's a helper tile with the cream background. So I'm going to get 3 merchant actions. So I'm actually going to go 1, 2, take the tile for my 3rd action, pop it in my storage. But I can then use that tile for 3 king actions, which I'm going to do and move my token up 3. So although all of that was one action, that's quite a bit that I've done in that turn. So that's my second. So for my third action, I'm going to reveal this corruption. And I had a plan. There was something I wanted to do. I know what I want to do. I'm going to take this 1 food again. There's no bonus tile there. Tough. And I get 6 architect actions. So let's have a look. Oh goodness. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Place that for 4. 5, 6. So that's my 6 architect actions. So, but now I have 2 food. I can place a crest here. That costs me 2 food and it gets me 5 points. Now, when you're placing into your houses here, you must have nobles of the same type in the same building. And you can't have the same noble in multiple buildings. So let's have a look. Oh, of course, everything we've got there is different. Let's take this guy. I couldn't have him there and there. So if I had these 2 guys, I could put them both here, but I couldn't split them up. When you place one of these into your house, you're going to get the bonus depicted on the top. So here you get 2 stone, 3 gold, 2 king movement, and so on. So keep an eye for the bonuses that you want. So now we're at the end of the round. I've taken my 3 actions. I've moved this in. We go to the king phase. So at the moment I would get -2 points, which sucks. Then we're going to go into the fair phase, which is harder to say than you'd think. So 2 + 2 for each column, so 4. I have 3 columns on the board, so I'd get 12 points. So 1, 2 and 10 is 27. And that would be the end of the first round. I tend to flip these so that I know where I am. So that is a quarter of the game. After the fair phase, you're going to do the clean-up phase. So all the dice go back in the bag. We refill the action wheel with bonus tiles. The bonus tiles here on the board never get restocked. So you kind of want to grab them before anyone else does. So we'll restock the action wheel. Now, if it is the fair in the 4th round, you're going to score that and then move on to endgame scoring. So at the end of the game, all your scoring is shown on the board here. The number of houses you have on the board multiplied by the number of columns you have. So I've only had 1 turn, but I have 1 times 3. So I'd get 3 points. Then your complete houses are going to score. Now, complete houses mean you have them full of people and you have a crest in the bottom. And again, the people can't be in different houses. The crests must all be unique as well. There is also another little bonus when you complete these houses, which I'll explain in a bit. So if you have completed, this house is completed, partly because it started with a noble on the board. But if you've completed 3, 4, 5 or 6 houses, you're going to score the appropriate number of points. Then any resources you have left at the end of the game will score you. For every 4 resources you have, you're going to gain 1 point. And the player with the most points wins. I have to say, this is my favourite tea game so far. I did enjoy Terracotta Army, but I feel like you could get stuck agonising over decisions that may get you 1 or 2 extra points. This just feels a lot smoother, especially if you play with people that have AP. Looking at you, Rob. The action wheel has 2 options, not 3. When you're placing stuff, there's a reason immediately for placing stuff, whereas with Terracotta Army, it's all about building everything up. We really like Simone Luciani's designs. He did Golem, Coimbra, Lorenzo, and again, this is quite typical of him with this 12 actions. You only get 12 actions all game. Alright, you had the bonus things as well, but essentially 12 actions in the entire game. And I really enjoy that style of game. I don't know if there's a term for it yet. There should be. But I really enjoy them. My one big criticism, and I hate to say because I've said this before with Board&Dice, is these colours. We've got a light blue, a light grey and a dark grey, and these 3 are very confusing, which is actually why I put them there. Alright, the yellow and the pink are very obvious, but I'm sure I've got these wrong on other games. So that is kind of my big complaint with this. Origins had some dodgy colour choices as well. Yeah, I don't like that, but I love the game. This is very much my sort of thing. There is quite a lot going on, but it flows nicely. It makes sense. You've only got 5 actions you can take. So realistically, you've probably got an idea of what you want to do. You might need to have a look and decide what resources you want as well, but you've only got a choice of 5 actions. Then you have the scoring per round, which is going to lead you to a certain extent. Like here, the first round was columns, so I want to get as many columns out as possible, which obviously is then also good for my end game scoring. But to get the columns off your board, you need to fulfill contracts. To get the trade houses off the board, you need to fill up the houses with your nobles. So it's very much do this, to do this, to do this, to do that. It's available at Essen. If you pre-order it or buy it at Essen, you get some bonus cards. So I'm going to be cheeky and see if I can go and grab those because I like this. Also, Board&Dice at Essen have got a loot box that's got mini expansions for loads of their other games. I know it's got stuff for Origins, Mandala Stones, Zapotec. We couldn't quite work out on the picture what the other stuff was. So go and check their stand out. Loads of great stuff. Tiletum and Terracotta Army, which I did a while back, both going to be available there to buy. So go and see them. If you see me at Essen, come and say hello. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. When this video goes live, we're going to be collapsing in a quiet corner somewhere because it would just about be the end of day 1, 2 of Essen for us. So hopefully we'll get some content up while we're there as well. Show you some new stuff, some exciting stuff, hopefully. If you like this video, click like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff. See you next time. Bye.